Hey, what's the matter, you?
When is enough enough? This is on retirement, security, freedom, and whether any number ever feels like enough.
Good talk.
This
Good
is not,
topic.
well, thank you. This is not just about money, it's about security, fear, freedom, work, pride, and whether any number ever feels like enough. Well, let's jump right in.
Hmm. The other thing I wanted to mention, gentlemen, is you should, if you the people that you know, you should say, hey, you need to subscribe to our channel. Start spreading the word.
All right.
Well, how much money do you need before you can finally say, that's it, I'm done, I'm retiring? And what if no number ever really feels like enough? So, obviously, this is real life now for some of us and will be shortly for others. When does work become optional and when does fear stop running the show? So, let's solve some modern life. Let's solve this with some, wisdom, sarcasm, and maybe some bad financial paranoia, like the 10 times your salary slogan, or rent is just throwing money away and just wait until 70. So, what's the real tension? Is it retirement from work? Is it retire from stress, or just keep grinding because fear never fully leaves?
There's such a wide variety of opinions on this too. Whether you're watching YouTube or the web, or you'll see so many articles on this. You'll see I'm retiring at 50 to, like you said, how much money do you need to retire? I mean, there's literally there's a lot of interest in this because these are really important questions.
And so we'll start with just a gut check. Before we get into any rules and numbers, let's just do an honest version first. Forget calculators, forget the experts, just a gut instinct. What number sounds like enough to you?
I think the conventional wisdom is it used to be $1 million and now they raised it to two to 2.5.
Chris?
Yeah. I think basically, because if I didn't have a pension, I would think probably like $1 million. Yeah, something like that. It depends on your lifestyle too, though. I think that's an important thing to take into account. If you want to live as if you're still making $150,000 a year and spending on the same way, then you probably would need 2 million or more. I don't know. There's a calculate. Depends on how much your passive income has to be able to cover that.
At
Yeah,
what
I
age?
think you need to just let me pipe in one more point. I do think when you think about just at a broad brush, there's really the question. The part of it's what Christian just said. You're going to have to say, well, how much money are you going to use in retirement, which takes into account the lifestyle question, right? If you're going to go to Europe 3 times a year when you're retired, you better have a pretty high number. Secondly, you also then got to do some estimate on how long do you think you're going to live, and how is your current quality of life in terms of that. Whether you want to, so you got to kind of do. I only say the last part in terms of quality of life is if you're sickly, you may not live, or if you have serious medical problems, that should affect your estimate. Anyway.
Right. This is just a gut check. We didn't say go into your calculator yet and try to figure out your thing.
I know.
At what age does retirement feel reasonable?
I think I would love it if it was in the mid 50s, but I think it's more likely going to be in the late 60s for me, or something like that. But
Mike?
I'd say 65.
Good. Would you want to retire or would you go nuts?
I think it's very easy to fill your time because if you exercise and do some things around the house, they're half your day. If so it's pretty easy to
I think
fill that.
like,
Read a
yeah,
book.
yeah.
I think it depends. If I can work part-time, I do enjoy, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be started working part-time and I really like it. If I could work part-time, um, then I'll go longer. If I can't work part-time, then as well as, but the other thing is this, when I talk about part-time, again, I'm fortunate where I get a good hourly rate, very good hourly rate. So my part-time is not a normal part-time if you're doing like a retail job. So if I could work the way I'm working, which is very high rate, a very high salary and part-time, I could keep going until 70. But if I didn't have that situation, I really would, then I would retire. I would retire and just and fill my days with my own stuff.
Is retirement about stopping work or stopping pressure?
Stopping work.
I think for me it'd be pressure.
Would more free time now or more money later?
What's the question? Do you want more free
Would
time?
you like more free time now or would you take more money later? If you retire and you get Social Security at 62, 65, 70, which would you take? More free time now and less money or more money later, but obviously less free time?
Yeah.
I like
I
free
think
time.
that goes down into your question of your longevity. If you don't really feel you're going to live into your late 80s, you should get more free time now. If you think you're going to live into your late 80s or 90s, you should get this latter.
Chris?
I would say more free time now.
Okay, so be honest. Are you trying to retire or just escape?
Well, it's a weird question though.
Okay.
Like escape from
Yeah.
what? What's the escape from? Like escape from
Escape from
responsibility?
Escape from work.
Yeah, because most people don't like their work. Most people don't really enjoy their work, so I think they probably are trying to escape it. I would say probably I don't really like it that much, but I have a lot of free time with it, so I'm not really trying to escape it, but I think
Yeah.
that's part of it. For me, it would probably be escape. Yeah.
Sure.
I would say retire, but it's a good point. I like my job, so it is exactly dependent on whether you like your job or not.
I think that's where they're leading with that. Do you want peace or protection?
Peace.
Peace.
And what scares you more, running out of money or dying while still working?
I would say dying while still working.
Yeah, neither of those really scare me.
Okay, so let's go into the numbers that people throw around. This is where the conversation sounds simple till you actually have to live inside it. So we'll start off with like the 10 times salary by retirement rule.
And I just gotta add, Joe, I love the interactivity that you got going here. This is really, it's really fun.
Yeah, good job.
Oh, well, I thank you. So obviously, this is all stuff that I'm obviously very interested in. So, when it starts to become more real, you start to say, at first, I didn't even know what the 10 times salary by retirement was. And so obviously learning about this really, it was more interesting because, what is this 4% rule or this 10 times the salary? And is it helpful shorthand or ridiculous oversimplification? And when I started to look at the numbers, I started to look at, okay, I went on to socialsecurity.gov and I set up an account and I'm looking at this. This is not set in stone because the last years, since what they do is they look at 35 years of your highest amount of money, and then they weigh out with these equations that at 62 I would get 2,400, at 67 I would get 3,600 a month, and at 70 I would get 4,600 a month. And like I said, this would change if the last 5 years of my 57 to 62. If I get like 140, 50, 60,000, that would change. This money would go up. But just looking at this as the base level, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, well, that's 5 extra years of working. But if I'm receiving 2,400 each month for 5 years, it totals out to like $140,000. So
Right.
by age 76.5 is when I would break even. So if I started at 62, by age 77 is when it wouldn't have been wise for me to take the 2,400 a month over the 3,600.
Right.
If I take it at 67, it wouldn't be wise for me to take it. That's when at 80.7 I would break even. So if I wanted to retire at 62 instead of working 8 more years,
And this is the money that you're going to be getting from the government. Is that correct? What you're
Yeah,
Social
this
Security.
is Social Security.
okay?
it's Social Security.
You're saying
But
the
you-
break
you
even, if
keep
you
calculation
the
bank
break even
account.
point is where these the intersect, all these lines would intersect.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I just wanted to point that out for the audience if there was someone, because I was slightly confused, even though I kind of understood what you were saying. But
Yeah, it would be nice to see the graphs, but I get what you're saying. He's basically saying, because if you think about it, you're collecting, as an example, from 62 to 67. You're getting money.
right,
So that money, and then he's saying, okay, well, then what if you then started at 67? At what point do the two lines
where
cross?
they intersect, right? All the lines intersect. Gotcha. Okay.
And it's important to realize, because we haven't really looked at anything yet, this is just what the normal person would be understanding as they're starting to approach this, to trying to make a decision as to when, what do these numbers mean?
Well,
and
what confused me slightly, sorry to interrupt, Joe, was that
Is it-
my understanding of the 4% rule has nothing to do with this. Are these related to this thing is related to the 4% rule, or is this separate?
No, this
This
is
is-
the 10% salary by retirement, the 4% rule is your money that you make over time.
Right.
That's your salary.
That's how
But the middle one is obviously retirement in respect to Social Security.
right. Gotcha. Okay.
And so it's just part of the equation when people are throwing around numbers.
Gotcha.
If you're making, $150,000 a year, then 10 times your salary at age 62 would be what you would want at a minimum in retirement.
Right.
Wow.
So
The 4% rule
obviously-
refers to what you can safely withdraw from your nest egg without.
Right. So at $1 million, that would be $40,000 a year. You'd be getting as passive income.
that's the 4% rule.
That's the 4%.
That's
right.
if you take whatever amount of money that you have and you just put it into the bank account and you withdraw 4% the first year.
Right.
How long would that last?
Right. Gotcha. Yep. I'm
And
with
so
you.
these are just helpful shorthands. Unfortunately, both of them don't necessarily take into consideration they look at it from the lens of the salary, not the lens of what you actually spend. So where these assumptions break apart, the middle one is an assumption predicated on, well, I'm making a lot less money if I take it out of 2,400. This is all under the assumption that you think you're going to live past 77.
Right.
And the same with the 67 past 81. And then the other one, the 10 times the salary, is making the assumption that you spend all of the money that you make, that's an expense, that I'm making 150,000 a year. I don't spend that much a year. So again, you have to make sure that when we're throwing around these numbers, that you're looking at it from a perspective of what they're talking about. So, when we're doing the math, if you take it at 62, is life is uncertain? Do you get money sooner? Is it more flexibility while you're younger? What is the quality of life at age 75? Am I a spring chicken where I'm going to be running around to Europe? I don't see a lot of 75-year-olds doing that. I think you're running out of energy at that point. So be careful what we're wishing for,
Yeah,
because
and
what
I
the hell's the
actually
way?
agree with that. I think if you're calculating beyond 80, I mean, really, once you're 80, how much you really going to be leaving even the house? You know, you're not going to be, I mean, not that you don't try to stay healthy and all that, and that's all good. But really, in my opinion, after 80, you can live off a very minimal amount.
Dad
This is
did a
why
lot about traveling in his 70s, though. I mean, I would say that he definitely did a lot, but not now. It's slowed down in his 80s. I don't think very much. Florida, but I don't think
Yeah,
I
but
he
think
that's
you
that's
get.
what I'm getting at. I do think in the 80s, you're gonna want. I don't want to go anywhere after my 80s. I'll be like, you guys can come to me.
Well, I've got to make sure I piss 3 times before I go out. Now I'm 57. I mean, are we kidding? Long trips are annoying. I don't mean to say it, but it's just everything's harder. And we make the same assumptions when we were younger that, oh, the way I feel now is the way I'm going to feel then, but we don't take into consideration the real feelings of what we're feeling then.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
kind of what I
there
was
was,
saying. Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
Dad, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was going to say it's just kind of what you said. I wouldn't, if I was planning, I would think that the spending is going to drop off once you hit 80. So I would not be doing like a linear type thing, assuming I'm going to spend the same amount in my 60s and my 70s and my 80s, because I just don't think you're gonna, you know.
There
So
was
if
maybe, I
you,
think it was in the mid 2000s that a movement where it was called the FIRE movement, where it was financial independence, retire early. It was like a lot of kids were saving, they were being very frugal and saving basically like 80% of their paycheck to try and retire early because they felt that the quality of life is now and I'm going to retire now and go travel. Or what also became popular was like these micro retirements. So they retire for a year or two, go back to work for a year or two, retire again for a year or two. This is just the popular thing, and then now it's sort of fizzled out after COVID and stuff. But
Yeah,
that
I
was
heard about that too.
so now if you knew you'd live to 90, what would you do? Would you take it at 62, 67, or 70? Because we have longevity in our family.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. You could
Well, I
easily
don't know
argue
about
that.
me.
as soon as my pension becomes the right amount, I'm retiring. But
Ooh,
Say again, Christian.
my pension allows me to have them when I can get the max pension thing, I'm just going to retire. I mean, I'll do side jobs, or I'll do if side work if I have to, or do something else. But I think that would be enough. As long as
very
your house is paid
interesting.
off for, and what the hell,
Ooh, interesting. Very interesting.
it'll be some. I think 63 or something.
Wow. Okay, Mike.
I mean, I probably already have enough, but I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I mean, I'll probably pay off this house this year, so I do think you should. My recommendation would be pay off your residence before you retire, because that's a big stress relief to not have a house payment. That's usually your largest payment.
Yeah.
So if you've paid that off, then I think you can much more safely retire without any stress.
Yeah.
Well, does taking it early feel smart, or is it fear based? We're
I think
hoping
it all
Social
depends on the
Security
plan.
stays. Is he? How do we know we're even going to have Social Security in another 20 years? Again, is it fear based? Do we think it's going to stay? Maybe taking it earlier. Maybe it is smarter.
I wouldn't base it on the federal government. They've kicked the can down the road so many years. They're going to kick that can down the road probably before. The probable outcome is it'll be kick the can far enough, we'll be dead before it is really in problems. Even though theoretically it's in problems in the next 10 years, all they're going to do is get rid of the Social Security cap, and then it'll last another 30 to 50 years, and then you're done with that question.
It's beyond us. Would you rather have more money while younger and healthier, or more money when older?
Younger.
The first.
Yeah.
Or both.
Is a simple life the real cheat code? Do the below items change the enough is enough number?
Whoa, I like
Obviously.
this. The real Guido version of retirement. Who's the real? Will the real Guido please stand up?
It's us. We're the real Guidos. Retirement is not just a number.
It's a simple life, the real chicken. That's true. Yeah. I mean,
Wait a minute.
Debt
So what
load,
question here,
all
John?
these impact this enough is enough number. Your health, is your house paid off? Do you trust in the economy? Do kids still need help when you're growing up? Are kids involved?
Mhm.
Is your identity wrapped up in work? Like, is it that you live to work? It's just who you are. You couldn't even look at retirement. Is your debt just too overwhelming? A guy with low expenses and peace of mind may be more retired at 62 than a guy with 2 million in the bank and panic in his chest. When is enough enough?
There's another question here, which I don't know if can you go back to that a minute? So I think those are really good, right? And I definitely think the simple life. It's kind of like you were talking about before. It changes the equation because, as well as paying off your house, changes the equation. Changes it both from a stress level and it changes it from a what do you spend level. Because as you said, really all the calculations are based on two numbers. A, what are you spending? How long you need to spend it. I mean, that's it, right? But those are not easy numbers to estimate or calculate. However, one thing I don't see on here, which a lot of people are doing, is looking at other countries to retire in. As an example, if you believe our health industry and health insurance industry is ridiculous and overpriced, there are people moving to more socialist style countries or countries that have universal health care because of that expense.
I think that would, in my world, fall into lower expenses. What you're saying is you can find a country that your lifestyle could be at a cheaper, a cheaper rate, a cheaper cost,
Right.
and living, will be willing, even here, if you're willing to live simpler, obviously you can achieve that peace of mind. I am a big proponent of the tiny house movement. I have a house, I don't use 50% of it. Literally, I have to clean the dust off of it. What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's again, I have more than I need. And then that's not what I would be looking for when I'm entering into my years of retirement. Um, and I think that was, like you're saying, this is where we're leading. Um, so hot take rounds, no retirement number makes an anxious person feel safe. Agree, disagree?
I disagree.
the anxious person. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think they feel. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm sure they do feel some security in there. It's
A paid off house
whatever.
can matter more than a giant account balance.
Like my house, I only pay 2% interest on my loan,
It's good.
so it's not like I'm in a rush to pay it off because I can put money in a regular thing, get 5% interest. So paying it off doesn't make sense to me. If I could,
Yeah,
it depends on.
2% is very good.
I got it when it was right after COVID, and I
Right.
refinanced my house to a 20-year loan. I went from
Yeah.
a 30-year loan to a 20-year loan, and I'm paying like 2% on my house. So it makes
2%, 2% is fantastic. Did you know, just as an aside, that both Coinbase and now Robinhood offer 3.5 for doing nothing? 3.5 just to put your money there. 3.5 for doing nothing.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So my point is 3.5 is better than 2 that you're paying. So there you go.
That's why I'm not in a rush to put more. I was gonna start. I mean, I pay a little bit extra, like let's say 100 something bucks extra, but I was gonna start putting more and more. But I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. If I could get 5% on my money on a whatever.
Right. Obviously, it still helps to put more. In other words, I would still, if it was me, I would still be increasing that just to chop down the loan, right? Um, but like you said, you're not in a real rush to do it. So
Yep. Most guys who say they want to retire just want out of the job they're doing. It's interesting, Christian. I feel like that's what you had said, that you're, it sounded like you,
Well, it's
it's a job.
my job is not really. I'm not like Michael was a software developer. At least you were creating something. My job is just helping people, which is nice, but there's no real sense of accomplishment, or you can't point at anything and say, "Oh, I did that."
right.
Or like Joe, when you finish a project, you could go back to the project and said, "Oh, we did this project. We made this development." I think my job's not like that, and then most of the time I'm helping people. It's the same thing over and over. It's very repetitive, but I'm on call, so I have a lot of free time to do other things. So there's some good. I'm grateful I have the job. I'm grateful that it has a pension, which is nice. So it's good.
I think that we can agree that taking Social Security at 62 might not be stupid for the right person. Part-time work in your 60s may beat full retirement, Mike, you said, part-time. It's really, you keep doing that, it feels good. Much more freedom for you. People chase a number instead of learning how to live cheaper. And some men fear retirement because work is where they feel useful. So these are just interesting thoughts to consider. Okay, if I can cover my bills and I have my house paid off, I'm done. Would that be a point where you would say you would retire?
Me, if I can cover my bills, yes, I'd be done.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
If I have
already can do
passive
that,
income,
but
you
no,
think?
I'm not done. No, because like I said, I like my situation in terms of the part-time work.
And do you believe waiting until 70 is the smartest move?
Depending on your health. So honestly, I would say probably not for most people. It's the smartest long-term financial move, but that assumes that you're going to live till you enjoy it.
And that you're still active at 70.
When does Medicare kick in on that next one? When does that?
65.
65.
Anybody retiring before Medicare age is playing with fire.
Why?
You agree?
You don't get it. If you retire earlier than that, you don't get qualified to it, or you can.
You retire at 62. You better carry your own insurance for 3 years, because if you don't, you get hurt and you need it. It's coming out. Mike, how much do you pay for? How much were you paying for your insurance?
So for myself and Lynn, they wanted to raise it. I decided not to do it, but the ACA plans were going from $1,300 a month up to $1,700 a month. That's this year. It's ridiculous for nothing. We're still pretty healthy, so we don't even use it. So literally, even the year before, I was paying $1,300 a month for really no benefit. I think I went to a physical. That's it. In 2025. So
$15,000 a year.
Yep. For nothing.
For nothing.
I know the school district pays a fortune for these, and fucking school district pays. That's one of their biggest things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Healthcare
So,
is.
I have
Healthcare is
pretty good
one of
insurance.
the biggest concerns.
Yep. So here we go. What's the retirement test? What's the real monthly expenses that you have? Is your house paid off or close to being paid off? Are you counting on Social Security or treating it as backup? Would you be okay living simpler than you do now? If you retired tomorrow, what would life actually look like? If you can't answer what life looks like after retirement, you're not planning retirement. You're fantasizing about escape.
Right.
Here's a real scenario using someone, we don't have to say who. using someone as a realistic bridge year model for discussion. This is if I can retire at 60.
You just said I.
Why you gotta make everything so obvious, Mike?
I didn't. You did.
But maybe, but can I? Maybe, but not without trade-offs. So I made steep assumptions. 600K starting nest egg. I'd say sell everything, sell my house, get a tiny house.
Mm-hmm.
3% annual return, not even 3.5. I want 50,000 for the first year spending, growing at 2.5% a year for inflation. I have taxes, repairs, vehicle costs. I put in modern health costs. I said I'm going to start Social Security at 62 with a 2.5%. It's like it's like it considers this COLA assumption.
Yeah, Social Security goes up with inflation. They do an inflation calculation, yes.
And then I'm eligible at 65. What it came down to is by 86, and these are steep. This is like, this was really a conservative.
Can you explain your checkpoints? I see. This is the drawdown of your 600K.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
And that's with getting at 62, the extra. But since I've only getting 3% return and I'm losing 2.5 with my yearly inflation, I took actual numbers on what's my expenses per year, and they were about 30,000 per year. And I said, no, I want to kick it to 50,000. So I've got an extra 20K to use beyond the typical expenses of what I'm living right now. Obviously not expenses associated
basically
with
your model. You got money till 86, as it shows, just with a 600K nest egg.
Not making anything from age 60 to age 85.
So 25.
So if I don't do one thing to try and make extra money, by 85, I would be out of money.
Right.
At the end of 85. It's workable, but it's not bulletproof. Gets me through my mid-80s.
This is the tiny house scenario, though.
This is a tiny house scenario. I own the house. Now, these numbers aren't really true because I have more than 600. And I don't think that 3% is not that, that's not really doing very well on your investments.
What I think this shows is where most people are saying $2 million, $2 million is the expenses of them doing 2 trips to Europe every year, or two trips abroad every year.
Yes. I mean, I think you're talking about a family of 4. I think you're talking about something way beyond an individual when you're talking 2 million. And all this really does is it brings it down from the numbers that they say, have 10 times your salary. Make sure it's 4%, or put 2.5 million in the bank. I don't know where. I mean, I'm not even using $1 million, and I'm looking at 86. I don't need that many more years. If I can just make some extra money. But remember, the government is not on your side with this when you start making extra money after your retirement and you taking Social Security. They stick it right up your yin-yang.
Yeah. What does it get taxed at? What does it get taxed at?
You can only make $25,000 or your Social Security starts to disappear.
Right.
And don't think you're not paying taxes on your Social Security.
Yeah.
You are. So, but this to me brought it down to reality. When you take it away from everything we've been discussing as, well, this is what I think and this is what I want. And, when you get down to the number crunching.
But your most important 2 numbers there is, what did you start with? What are you drawing down, and what's your spending? The real question is how realistic is only spending 50K a year?
That's right. And again, I looked at my last years, and I was only spending about 25K beyond, take out the house payment. I mean, I know that's the biggest one. Right. It's 2,500. That's 30,000 just in house payments. So yeah, I mean, you have your house paid off. We're talking about a totally different world. But you're absolutely right.
House, healthcare, vehicles, insurance. Those are the
And
biggies.
again, I'm stopping at 60. If I go to 62, this whole equation changes. Because these last 5 years, if I work 5 more years, would change the 2,500 to about 3,500 right off the bat. Because my years are not good. When I worked alone, that when I did remember, I wasn't paying Social Security when you own your own company.
You can. You're
I
supposed
know,
to.
but I wasn't. I didn't even know. I didn't even know wise enough to know. But I didn't. So when I'm looking at 35 years, I'm looking at like years that were like 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 25, really low numbers. So these last 5 years could change all of my numbers quite significantly.
Gotcha.
But I like that this is 86. How much? I mean, mom can barely walk. Dad can barely walk. You're not doing much
Yeah,
at
that is
86.
his movement has really changed over the last year.
Yeah. But I think this is really good, Joe, because I think, again, it's kind of the similar thing that we experienced. Remember when we calculated this when we were writing the book? And you said it was very eye-opening that you weren't in such a dire situation. Although someone like Frank is in a harder situation, right? He doesn't have that nest egg. His 401k is extremely small. And so I think he's looking to retire at 65. But he's basically going to be living off of Social Security.
But yeah, again, it's you got to run the numbers.
Right.
That's what this is showing.
Yeah.
Because I forgot my 401k, which is only like 200k or something like that. But I mean, I started late, the same BS,
Right.
But man, I make 600, 800. Well, that changes this whole equation again. Now I'm not going to 85. I'm going to 90 or something like that. My point is that until you run the numbers, like we just said, you're not planning retirement.
Right.
You're just fantasizing about escape. So, closing summary. What's your number, and is it really a number or a feeling? Would you rather retire early and live tighter, or work longer and live bigger? And at what point does being careful turn into never letting yourself enjoy life? Retirement is not just a math problem. It is a values problem, a fear problem, and a lifestyle problem. Enough is the point where your money, your health, your lifestyle, and your peace of mind finally line up. Not perfectly, not with guarantees, but enough to let you breathe. For some people, enough means a giant account balance. For others, it means a paid off house, lower bills, Social Security check, and less stress. The hardest part may not be getting the money. It may be believing that one day, enough can actually be enough.
Good job. Good job.
Very good.
Yeah, I think it's an important question too. You should have more than a hunch. So
It reminds me of this story of this guy goes to vacation in Mexico, and there's a guy on the beach selling fish or something. And the guy who's buying the fish is like, these are so delicious, man. You should start your own fish company and all that. And the guy's like, nah, I'm happy. I'm here. I live on the beach with my family. We eat fish a lot, and we go into town and we play guitar. And at night, we drink cervezas and blah blah. And the guy's like, no, you should do it like I'm telling you, I'll help you. We'll start a business, and you'll make a lot of money. You'll need to move out of here though. You'll need to go to like a city center, and then we'll get you incorporated, and you can start to build more businesses, and then you'll get your fish company going. Blah blah blah. And the guy's like, and then when you retire, what do you want to do when you retire? He's saying to the guy, he's like, then you'll finally have enough money to retire. And the guy's like, well, I'd probably just come down to the beach and play guitar on the thing, which he was already doing. He was already living the thing. He lived on the beach and fished on the beach and played guitar and drank cervezas. And that's what the guy finally got to at the end of the thing. He's like, well, then you become a millionaire. And then you could have people doing things for you. And what would you do? Well, I'd probably go to the beach and drink cervezas and play the guitar. So he was already living what he wanted to do, So it reminded me of that story.
And now I'll take that and run into a real life story. I would go down to Teresa's family who lived on Wymus, lived on a hill that you had to walk up 100 feet up in the hill area. No water, trapped in a hole. Had to drive a car up. You couldn't even get the car up. You had to walk up. We had a cistern of water that they would take the water in. I've never seen a happier family in my life. They'd go down to the beach. Everybody would go down to the beach. We'd have a beach of like 20 people. 2 or 3 people would dive in next to the reef and come up with clams, mussels, fish, one octopus. Cooked that all up with beans and tortillas, playing music, singing and dancing with their cervezas, having a grand old time. You'd think they were multimillionaires the way they were living it up. We did that 3 to 4 times a week. They're probably eating more healthy than 95% of the people that eat anything that we're eating, as they're living right from the ocean. And we're saying, no, work until you gotta have something to live off of when they will live in retirement that 90% of us would be trying to acquire. And that's just their life of living in poverty. And I'm telling you guys, I've never seen happier people. And everybody worked as a community. When somebody needed something, they got it. When everybody would put $1,000 into a pool, there'd be like $12,000, and it would just go around the neighborhood when they would buy big things. And everybody would just, again, $100 a month or like $50 extra, and they would pool up money so that they could buy big things at once. And it would circle around the group. And then oh, you need to do the laundry, my washer and dryer, and they would come down and be using their laundry. And if there was a house repair, there would be 6 men that came up and did the house repair. I bought concrete to keep their water, and one day they had a 6 by 6 by 8 foot wall concrete that they were putting water in. It was all filled up with water. Nobody could do that by themselves in one day. They had just a whole group of men that would all join together. We're living in a very, I got to do it on my own. And, it's a totally different world. Someone got sick. They were watching them. Kids needed to be watched during the day. The one mom who stayed home would watch the kids. It was, you're talking about a different world.
Yeah.
That, that's why I think this, like what Mike wants to do and get a place and live as a family unit. That's why the Mormons are doing so well as a family unit. That's why the Amish are doing so well as a family unit. We've lost something, we've really lost something in this rat race. Do it on your own. Everybody go their own way, make it on your own in retirement. I don't know. We lost so much of our roots that it's unfortunate.
Well, you chase a lot of nonsense too, because you can spend as much money as you want on automobiles. I mean, just crazy prices. You can get a Lamborghini if you want to pay a few $1 million for a car. Obviously, jewelry. You can spend as much money as you have on rare pieces of jewelry and larger diamonds and larger sapphires, etc. And of course, housing, yachts, airplanes, right? So we chase a lot of crazy expensive nonsense. But you ask the kids what they want to do, they want to be an influencer because that's the lifestyle they think they want.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, there's another week.
Another week. Gentlemen, have a great week.
That was a good one, Joe. Arrivederci.